Trust planet Earth to shock you in ways that you can't even begin to imagine. Sure, our world remains largely unexplored, but the universe finds its ways to confide in you.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
It could be weird phenomena in the sky before an earthquake, or Hitler's secrets that keep uncovering themselves, or even the bugs that live a zombie lifestyle. Join us as we walk you through the 15 shocking things recently discovered. Number 15. Mermaid mummy in Japan. We have grown up admiring the beauty of mermaids. From the Disney caricature to the overtold bedtime stories of a tiny mermaid, these beautiful, innocent creatures are part of our fantasy world. But what if actual mermaids were hideous, evil creatures that would make grown men sweat? Before you say, "Ha, as if," the Japanese mystery mermaid would respectfully disagree. Discovered under the Enjuin Temple in Asakuchi, Okayama Prefecture, this mermaid shocked the scientists. First off, wait, what? Are mermaids even real? And if they are real, why do they look so disturbingly frightening? The 12-inch long creature's human component oddly resembles a monkey, and the bottom part was reflective of a fish. Yep, that's one visual that'll catch you off guard. And it's enough to shatter all your perceptions of those innocent mermaids. Okay, we know, mythology isn't supposed to be real. But imagine the surprise of the scientists when they discovered that their mummy mermaid largely resembles Ningyo, a Japanese mythical creature. Ningyo is supposed to have a fish-like body that can harness healing powers. And if you find the mermaid in 2022, when COVID isn't exactly ready to back off, that's just lucky, right? But hey, there's no way anyone is thinking this mummified mermaid is fixing the COVID health crisis. Well, what have we learned about speaking too soon? Of course, the locals thought the mermaid was their messiah. That's pretty off on all accounts. But hey, to their credit, the note attached to the mermaid's box is quite sus. The note attached to the box indicates that the mermaid was caught around in a fishing net off the coast of Kochi sometime before 1740. All we know is that apparently eating Ningyo would make you immortal. Not this mummified mermaid though. Far from it. Number 14. Venice canals are drying out. Next time a boomer tells you that climate change isn't real, feel free to show them what you're gonna see next. Folks, remember when Venice was called the Floating City? Or the City of the Water? And the Queen of the Adriatic? Well, you better call it the City of Droughts now, because the beautiful intercity canals in Venice are drying out, and the damage could be irreversible. The beautiful interconnected systems of canals in the city can take you anywhere with a boat. But now, you can actually walk across a canal because there isn't any water to care about. So, yep, you can literally walk through the shallow water to get to places. This is what happens when the Alps don't get enough snowfall. The less than the normal snowfall made sure that there isn't enough water for a runoff in the canals. Typically, Venice and other areas in Italy are in constant emergency for floods due to heavy snowfall in the Alps. This time, the city is facing a drought. Now, because of the low tide, you can't enjoy the floating markets, gondolas, and the water taxis in the city of the water. Ironic, right? And the impact could be seen throughout Italy. The famous island of San Biagio is still an island for sure, but the waters around it are so shallow that you can just literally walk to the island. The environmental harms are going to be huge. Animals will lose their habitat, and birds will lose their sanctuary. Don't know about you guys, but that's pretty dystopian. Even the abandoned water canals in Venice look straight out of a post-apocalyptic movie. For a city of love, now that's something. Number 13. Plane losing its wheel. Imagine you're having a chill, late-night drive, and your car's wheel suddenly comes off. Right off the bat, that's scary. but somewhat recoverable. Now imagine you're about to be 30,000 feet above the ground, and your plane's main landing gear wheel flies off. Quite literally, flies off. Yeah, you're never getting on a plane again. We have no deets if the crew on Atlas Air's Dreamlifter cargo flight handed over their resignation or not, but the plane's wheel definitely came off. The cargo plane was on its way to South Carolina from southern Italy when its main wheel left the flight right after the takeoff. The shocking moment was caught on camera, and oh boy, Atlas Air definitely didn't enjoy their celebrity moment on the internet. Yup, when you're an airline, not all publicity is good publicity. The reports show that the cargo plane was carrying another passenger Boeing 787 fuselage. So, did the two planes make it to South Carolina safely? You bet. Don't get us wrong, the 100-kilogram wheel was smoked, literally reduced to burnt leather, and the residuals found around the vineyards around the airport are pretty solid exhibits. But hey, as far as airplane safety manuals go, you can still land a plane safely with one wheel missing. Sure, it's risky, but if the aircraft is big enough, it has other wheels to support the engine. And why would the airline waste its money on a detour? Not with those fuel prices, gosh! Number 12. Cordyceps turns you into a zombie. You might be a pro gamer when it comes to Resident Evil, but you do know that zombies aren't real, right?
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
What if we tell you that you're wrong? Or at least somewhat wrong. Alright, you won't find the reawakened corpses with socket eyes and intolerable hunger for humans, but you'll find a fungus that finds its home in bugs and ants only to turn them into zombies.
Found a zombie needle, check this out.
Hear us out for a second. The Ophiocordyceps unilateralis fungus takes over the exoskeletons of the ants and bugs they deem fit. Basically, the cordyceps take over the minds of the insects and force them to do stuff that they won't typically do. In Amazonian rainforests, you'll find ants in very humid microclimates just because fungus thrive in such an environment. Basically, cordyceps take over their host's mind and turn them into brainless, automated work of strings. Yup, this fungus can puppeteer insects only to kill them once their work is done. Sure, some of them will survive, and would even make the last of their journeys as this dying cicada. For the most part, the future isn't bright for zombified insects. The fungi would kill them and sprout spore-producing mushrooms from their heads. Who knew a fungus could be that whack? And nope, these aren't the fun mushrooms that will make you the most fun person at the parties.
That's a dead bird, and it's just floating in the air.
Number 11, birds stuck in the matrix. What makes a bird a bird? That would sound like a deep philosophical question on ontology, but the obvious answer is birds are birds because they can fly. Fair enough. But what happens if a bird is up in the sky yet isn't flying? It's just stuck in the air and hovering over you.
That's a dead bird, and it's just floating in the air. No strings, no nothing.
First off, that's creepy and borderline horrifying. What could even explain motionless birds that aren't fluttering their wings at all? You could say that either these birds are stuck in a matrix that we don't know of, or for any God-fearing man, that's the third sign of the apocalypse. Birds flying off from the sky is one, but being stuck up there is just a new brand of bizarre. The footage taken in Surrey also shows that the bird isn't suspended on anything, and it's not the work of power lines or telegraph lines either. Plus, the glitch in the matrix isn't just limited to Surrey. Multiple video evidences from Malaysia also show frozen birds up in the sky. To make matters worse, experts on birds and wildlife couldn't provide any reasonable explanation beyond, oh, it's suspended on something. Now that doesn't make complete sense. Chances of someone erecting a fishing line in populated areas are pretty slim, and that doesn't make any sense either. Sure, flightless birds is also a nonsensical idea, but hey, make it make sense, right? Number 10. Rained worms in China. Ever heard of the saying, "It's raining cats and dogs"? But people in Liaoning, China, are experiencing something far more scary and unexplainable. What could be worse than raining cats and dogs? Well, of course, when it's raining worms. Yep, you heard that right. Those slimy, bobbly, off-putting creatures allegedly fell from the sky in China. Believe it or not, the cars parked in a lane were entirely covered with dead worms. And people are just walking about their day along the parked cars? Like, hello? How are you ignoring those worms? As per the scientific journal Mother Nature Network, worms could have been swept off by the heavy winds in the storm. That would seem plausible, but the worms were easily scattered in a pattern that was concentrated in one area. And that very much looks like something falling from the sky and not being swept off by strong winds. Plus, earthworm rain isn't just happening in China. A lot of users on the internet are complaining about discovering hundreds of worms on their rooftops and hoop house while it's raining.
And it rains so hard that we have a lot of worms out here on the ground.
Particularly, the earthworm rain in Norway is awfully similar to China's situation. You'd think those earthworms would be frozen on a thick blanket of snow, right? Unless they fell from the sky. Number 9. Sharks frenzy feeding. Look, getting surrounded by sharks is bad news altogether. There's a slim chance that you'll make it out alive. Yep, we have all seen Jaws, Deep Blue Sea, 47 Meters Down, and literally every other shark movie ever made. But if the sharks are in an eating frenzy, you don't stand a chance. As seen in the footage from Louisiana, those sharks were definitely participating in the Hunger Games, very literally so. In the quest for eating the most, those sharks were sweeping each other off. A marine biologist would tell you that those predators are in an eating phase that mostly happens every other 6 weeks. Sharks can go up to 42 days or 6 weeks without eating anything. Now that's one cool fact to know about sharks. But their eating frenzy is absolutely frightening. Apparently, in these Hunger Games, these bloodthirsty creatures will eat anything in a frenzy. From a full body armor suit to tires, they have eaten it all. This time, the sharks were feeding on menhaden, which is a common fodder for marine life along the East Coast in the US. Usually, in shallow waters, small fishes are able to outrun the larger sharks like lemon sharks. Yet, that wasn't the case here. Even the owner of the footage, who happens to be a regular fisherman, says that this sight was completely shocking. Dylan May and his girlfriend could have easily lost the control of the boat with the amount of splashing. And that's not even the worst case scenario here. Number 8. How snakes climb. Reasonably, if a python is after you, you'd ideally want to make a run for your life. Or if you're one of those Boy Scout kids, you can also look to climb a tree to render the python helpless. But after seeing this footage, that's not an option anymore, huh? Believe it or not, snakes are now climbing trees and walls. You could very much look at the walls of your house and find a snake vibing on them. And if they're vibing enough, they'd also make cool patterns and shapes to keep you entertained. Like this snake just randomly makes a square shape given its muscles and agility. What a show-off! That's objectively cool to look at, but don't let it distract you from the haunting realization: snakes can climb now. Either these reptiles are evolving into some supreme invincible species, or it's the work of the divine. And hey, when did climbing vertically become this easy? In snakes' defense, they were always genetically capable of doing so. That doesn't make us feel any better, but interestingly, their instinct while climbing is very human-like. Not only do they use their muscles to grip the trees by exerting more force than necessary, they also use all of the muscular force they have to make that climb. And that's because they're worried about falling down. So, they're essentially gripping the trees and walls using their muscles, just like humans. Number 7. Birds behaving crazy before Turkey earthquake. Here's the thing. History is full of anecdotal evidence of animals sensing natural disasters well before they hit Earth. Animals are known to go completely whack when a calamity is about to hit their home. From the Malise earthquake of 1805 to quakes that destroyed Greece, we've heard of animals going wild. But those were just stories, right? Until this footage and several others told us otherwise. Earthquakes are scary on their own, but if they make birds and other animals super erratic before impact, that's scarier. And that's exactly what went down in Turkey. Before the devastating quake hit the country, birds went wild in the skies. Their movement was completely chaotic, as if they had lost the way home, pacing around helplessly. No one could explain what was going on, but the earthquake hit soon after, and the mystery was just washed down in the devastation that followed. Here's the thing though, the incident in Turkey is just not the only one. Something very similar happened in Costa Rica. Even the cats acted weirdly before the earthquake was felt by humans. Apparently, animals can sense primary waves of earthquakes that humans can't. We can only detect more violent secondary waves that shake the earth to its core. Number 6. Mysterious staircase in the middle of the desert. If finding a staircase to a realm of secrets wasn't on your bucket list, you're pretty much lying to yourself. Here's the thing. Finding secret passageways that could lead to treasures or buried past is a really cool idea. And we know that you're going to climb those stairs despite the risk. Unless you find a deeply buried long staircase in the middle of the desert. Yep, not taking those stairs now, are you? And that's a very fair call. The mysterious staircase was found in the limestone basin of Abu Rawash in Cairo, Egypt. Not only are the stairs meters below the surface, the gap is also quite narrow. Climbing those stairs actually feels like the walls are crashing on you. So if you're even slightly claustrophobic, don't even think about it. It's given that the desert is an extension of the Giza Plateau that's rich in limestone. And it would make sense why ancient civilizations would make staircases for extraction purposes. But this shocking discovery is very deep. Deep enough to take you to the desert floor. Or it could also lead you towards a groundwater reservoir, which is basically a part of the ocean. Yup, hard pass. As of now, these stairs lead to nothing. Sure, humans have been using it as a garbage dump, but hey, it's definitely a case of BuzzFeed Unsolved. Before we go on, like this video, smash that subscribe button, and click the notification bell right now, so you can continue to learn new cool facts about the world to flex. And now, it's time for the subscriber pick. Speaking of shocking discoveries, one of our die-hard subscribers sent us a picture that would confuse anyone. You're not mistaken. That's Adolf Hitler meeting someone non-human. Dare we say, an alien? Before UFOs made their way into our modern conspiracy theory clique, Nazi Germany was already onto something else. Rumor has it that German scientists were able to make contacts with the world outside well before World War II. In fact, by the time the war ended, the Nazi scientists were in the process of building flying saucers and ghost rockets. There are theories that Hitler was confident about a 1,000-year Reich because of his alien friends. But what if they had completed the process before the world got to know about their efforts? Why did German scientists admit to having help from external forces? How was Nazi science 100 years ahead of technological advancement? What's your take on it? Remember to comment down below with the hashtag #subscriberpick and let us know what you think. Now, on to the next topic.
Here we go.
Number 5. Spy balloons are here. Turns out, balloons aren't just for decoration on special occasions like birthdays. The Chinese Communist Party has a knack of turning balloons into spyware, and they aren't shy about using those in clear daylight. The Pentagon went into a frenzy when alleged weather balloons started to pop up randomly across the world. When a supposed harmless balloon entered the US territory from Canada, the Defense Department was on high alert. The US Air Force hesitated to take any action at first, because, hey, since when did governments decide to turn innocent accessories into something so sinister? And hello, the Soviet Union called. They want their decades-old ideas back. Pretty sure modern warfare has moved on from using obvious ploys like visible spyware. But China didn't back off. The balloon quietly veered off the sensitive military base in the US and was eventually shot down along the coast of South Carolina. 2 Air Force pilots did the job and people cheered from the streets. Yup, 2 high-profile military-grade pilots had to shoot down a balloon. Let that sink in. Yet the drama doesn't end there. In the curious case of balloons, the US had to kickstart a recovery mission to collect the debris of the infamous floating object. So far, the State Department has picked up enough pieces of the balloons from the ocean to make sense of China's motivation. Now, that's sensitive info, but China's anger is quite public. Because how dare the US shoot down an innocent civilian weather balloon that had veered off its course? If that's true, why did the balloon have a tour de North America? So many questions and not enough answers.
这个尾巴你看这些都哭奔奔的了啦。
Number 4. Catfish came back to life after water. Okay, this video has been challenging what we know about the world already, so here it goes again. Here's the thing. Fish can't survive without water. And by the looks of this footage, it seems like it. The catfish is essentially dead. It's hard as a bone, technically mummified, and looks like a clay pet project. But what happens next is against the laws of life. The mummified fish comes back to life as soon as its hardened body experiences 1 drop of water.
这个神奇的洞洞啊，来看一下，来看有没有反应？喂。
A splash of water has resurrected this fish, and it doesn't get any more bizarre than this. You can actually see the fish instantly begin to breathe and its mouth twitches. That has to be a desperate cry for more water, right? These species can come back to life after going into a hibernation mode in the absence of water. Alright, first of all, what? How are these fish preserving their life by burying themselves under mud? That too, for months and months. If that's not finding a new life, then what is? Plus, catfish can be huge. So just imagine running into a dry, solidified, huge catfish that suddenly starts to breathe through its mouth with 1 single drop of water. Don't know about you guys, but we're definitely running in the opposite direction. Number 3, giant metal ball in Japan beach. If a giant metal steel ball washes up on the shore of your local beach, there are going to be some bizarre speculations about it. And when a giant, mysterious, rusty metal ball popped up at a beach in Japan, the locals served with their theories. To their credit, if you see a suspicious giant ball on the shore, you won't be unfair to think about UFOs or some debris from the alien craft. Because something like that just doesn't wash off on the shore randomly, right? The Japanese authorities are still confused about the origins of the mysterious object. X-rays show that they are definitely hollow, but their origins are still unknown. So, yeah, it could be a real-time manifestation of Dragon Ball Z too, and we won't be able to do anything about it. But as far as theories go, the weird ball could also have been veered from the coast of China or North Korea. Both of these nations are always up to something when it comes to sea defense. So, who knows? Maybe it's some failed pet military project. Fun fact, even Neil deGrasse Tyson has no idea what this metallic ball is. Yup, that doesn't sound like good news. His theory calls for Godzilla eggs, though.
Here we go. Let's see what else is left in this wall. You ready? It's going.
Number 2, 700 pounds of acorn inside wall. Imagine if the walls of your house were filled with secret stash for birds and squirrels. Basically, what if your house was just a granary for woodpeckers and acorn nuts? Well, this certain household in California doesn't have to imagine anything that bizarre because they have lived it. When the family noticed some worms coming out of their walls, They called the local pest control company, only to discover 700 pounds of acorns in their walls. From the get-go, it's very simple to say that this is the work of woodpeckers who habitually stash their food. This stash took 2 woodpeckers and 5 years to build. Number 1. Gold bars hidden in plain. Successful gold heists only happen in the movies, and this incident from India is the biggest proof of it. So, someone thought if they hid stolen gold in the aircraft's washroom sink, they'd be slick enough to get away with this horrible plan. But that didn't happen. Somehow, the aircraft crew was able to search the small compacted area of the washroom sink to retrieve almost 4 kilograms of gold. Yep, that small unsanitary place was hiding one big treasure. The aircraft had come from Dubai and was about to depart when the airline got an anonymous tip to check the sink. Okay, that would sound like a practical joke, but the crew came through. You could only imagine their surprise when they found 4 bars of gold in an unlikely place. Some rich dreams were shattered that day. So wasn't that a doozy? That's all for the 15 most shocking things recently discovered. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments below. We'll see you next time.